I think sometimes it's really helpful to play it for other people. I think sometimes when you're making it, you have like such a sentimental bond and attachment to these songs. And I think playing them for other people can kind of help you have a little bit of a more objective standpoint. But it's all like, it's kind of like a little puzzle. You want to have like the right amount of, ballads and the right amount of rock songs. You can't have two of these songs because it's about the same thing. And, so it's like a delicate balance. Sometimes I feel like I've really worked hard and toiled over songs and finished them, and I was like, oh, this is not very good. This is never going to see the light of day. But I think it's really important to finish things. I always say that finished is better than perfect, because if you don't finish it, you'll never actually know if it's good. So when in doubt, always try to finish. That's what I'd say. Yeah, it's different every time. I have my like little music area in my house where I wrote All American there, and I wrote Love is Embarrassing there, my like little piano in my living room. But inspiration strikes at really random times. Sometimes you're just doing something random and you're like, wow, that's where I saw him, so it's different every time.
It's hard because so many of my songs are, lots of the times I write something and it's kind of like an amalgamation of lots of different people, or I write a lot of songs out of like fantasy sometimes too. And I think something that I'm really proud of on this record too is that lots of the songs are more about growing up than they are about breakups or, falling in love or anything. It's just very much me becoming a young adult. And so it's very introspective.
I think that I never approach writing a song from the perspective of like, how am I going to relate to everyone? I think that songs like that are relatable don't really come from those places. I think you just kind of have to try to boil down an emotion to its essential parts and just talk about how you feel. And I think that honesty always finds a way to be relatable. So that's always my mission. I write a lot of bad songs. I don't know. I think it's important to like keep that tap flowing. I'm very big on like trying to write every day. I certainly do write some bad songs, but it's okay. As long as it like helps me process my emotions and it's fun, then it's totally worth it. It is just a really scary thing, right? To be writing songs and put your heart on this silver platter for people to, criticize and pick apart. It is terrifying. So I don't know, but that's sort of the fun of it too, is being vulnerable. I think that's what makes a song, connect to people. Yeah, I'm honestly proud of myself for sticking with it. I think it was a very daunting task to try to write a sophomore album after Sour was so successful. And I'm proud of myself for being brave and just going at it, even though I felt absolutely terrified. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I feel like I didn't really get to actually hear the album for what it was until after it was out, and on the radio and on Spotify or whatever. Kind of when you're really close to it, you almost like can't see the forest through the trees. So I feel like I only really got the chance to experience the album for what it is very recently. Let's hope that I'm not as scared to make the next one. I love pop music for that reason in particular. It's just like you can do anything with it. There's like really no, boundaries or that can't be crossed, or you're not really put into a box. And so I love that. But I always grew up listening to rock music. Rock music is my favorite, and I love a ballad. Love a good ballad. But I feel like I have these emotions of like rage and jealousy and envy that sometimes are portrayed better through sounds that are rockier. So it was really fun to kind of get to explore that side of myself a little bit more on this album. Yeah, Making the Bed wasn't easy. That definitely is a very vulnerable song, and it's about a period in my life, where I just felt like I wasn't putting myself in positions or putting myself with people that I felt like was really bringing me ultimate calm or peace or happiness. And so that's always like a hard thing to kind of grapple with, realizing that you put yourself in those positions. But I'm really happy that I could kind of talk about having that autonomy and responsibility over my own actions in this album. I think that's something that was important to me. Oh my gosh, in every single way. I mean, I remember the day that it went #1. I remember being in my bathroom in Utah and calling my producer, and he was like, "You don't understand, Olivia. Like, your life is going to be different now." And I was like, I guess it is going to be different now. And it totally is. I mean, my surroundings have changed so much, and that song opened so many doors for me, and I'm very grateful for it. But simultaneously, I also feel like my life is the same and also drastically different. Like, I feel like I'm the exact same person, but just like everything around me has changed in such a beautiful way. I guess I have a therapist that I really like. I'm big on therapy. And this sounds cliche, but it's just like, she always tells me like, what other people say about you is none of your business. And it sounds like kind of cliche, and like you hear that all the time, but like really keeping that in mind has just saved me so many times, and most of the time when people criticize you, it's not about you or, something that you did. It's most usually always about, them or something else. So I just try to keep that in mind. That kind of makes me feel better about certain things.
Women are so discouraged from showing emotions like anger or dissatisfaction for fear of being ungrateful or complaining or, hard to be around. So I don't know, I've always struggled with that, and I think because I've always felt that pressure to be this like perfect all-American girl, I guess, I kind of repressed a lot of feelings in my life, and I think that came up and hurt me in different ways. And so I've always thought about that sort of push and pull between the two sides.
Ooh, I had so much fun writing Love is Embarrassing. And the lyrics are kind of funny, and I remember just coming up to them and being like, haha, like, this is so dumb. And it also felt like something I needed to say. It was just like so silly and fun, and just like, I don't know. Life is just so embarrassing, and it makes it a little less embarrassing if you can kind of talk about it. People are really coming up to me in real life and saying how much they love the song Making the Bed, which was really a wonderful surprise. I didn't know if that song was going to be relatable or not. It's very specific to my life experience in a very specific era in my life. But yeah, people have really been resonating with that one, and it makes me so happy. It's one of my favorites on the album. Oh my gosh, I do love vinyl. I don't know if I'm a fanatic quite yet, but I'm getting there. It's really fun to kind of have tangible music that you can own. Yeah, I feel like I've discovered a lot of my favorite artists through vinyl. When I was younger, I would just go to the thrift store and I got like Tapestry by Carole King for the first time. I got all these Pat Benatar records and Tanya Tucker records, and all these older artists that I maybe wouldn't have stumbled across on, streaming platforms. So I don't know, I think vinyl is really special in that way. It's so funny how you post something on the internet and like the craziest, most random person can see it. It's like you never realize like how many people can see an Instagram post that you put up. It's so funny. I mean, you can't even fathom, like, it's so absurd to me. I can't even start thinking about it. It's absurd.
I mean, I feel like everyone has to believe in aliens now. Like, I feel like there's evidence, ? That nobody really was like really freaking out about for some reason. So I guess I'd say yes.
Like, I've been saying this for years, but I really want to learn how to cook. I don't know how to cook anything, and I feel like I would really be a fully formed adult if I could like cook myself dinner every night and like make it different and good and like do the dishes after. I'd be like so fulfilled.
Meeting Dan has been probably one of the most important moments in my career. And I just think he's amazing, and I trust him so much, and he pushes me as a songwriter and I push him as a producer, and we just gel really well together, and I feel really lucky that we got to make this album together. I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anyone else.